The festival of Navaratri is celebrated to cherish the victory of Dharma over Adharma. These 9 days are associated with the battle that was fought between goddess Durga and the demon king Mahishasura. Throughout these 9 days, the 9 avatars of the goddess, known as Navadurga, is worshipped, each day dedicated to one incarnation. Let us find out the story behind each avatar. Shailputri. Shailputri, meaning the daughter of the mountains, was born to mountain king Himavan. She is also commonly known as Parvati and is the first of the 9 Navadurga. She is depicted having 2 hands holding a trident on her right hand and a lotus on her left. Being the wife of Lord Shiva, she rides on his bull named Nandi. In her previous birth, the goddess was born as Sati, the daughter of Prajapati Daksh, to eventually marry Shiva and fulfill her role as the universal mother to nourish all beings. Despite her father's disapproval, Sati married Shiva. When Daksh organized a yajna, he invited all gods except Shiva and Parvati. Parvati, unaware of her father's arrogance and hateful motives, reached there without an invitation, upon which Daksha began insulting Shiva. Sati, being a devoted wife, could not tolerate this and sacrificed herself to the yajna fire. To fulfill the superior motive of universal welfare, Shakti had to take birth again in the form of Parvati, to marry Shiva again and bring him out of his ascetic's life into the life of a grihast. Brahmacharini. In the second avatar, holding a rosary in her right hand and a kamandala in her left, Brahmacharini signifies tapasya or penance. After the death of Sati, Shiva abstained himself from all material desires and went into a state of meditation that lasted for millions of years. When Parvati grew up, sage Narada told her that the only way for her to attain Shiva was to perform severe penance that would exceed her husband's. Determined to marry Shiva in this birth as well, she began her tapasya, giving up on food, water and air. Her penance lasted for thousands of years. In the end, Brahma appeared in front of Parvati and said that no one had ever observed tapa the way she did. Following this, Parvati came to be known as Maa Brahmacharini. Later, Shiva accepted her as his wife. This avatar of Maa Durga teaches penance, devotion, restraint and solitude. Chandraghanta. Upon seeing Parvati's strong resolve to attain him, Shiva gives in and accepts to marry Parvati. On the day of the wedding, Shiva reached King Himavan's palace in the most terrorizing form. His body was smeared in ash, with snakes all over his body and in the matted locks of his unkempt hair. He brought with himself the strangest wedding procession, also known as Barat, consisting ghosts, aghoris, sages, ascetics and every being unimaginable. Upon seeing this sight, Parvati's mother and relatives were left in shock, mostly out of terror. To avoid any embarrassment to her family or to Shiva, Parvati transformed herself into a terrifying form, Chandraghanta. In this form, her complexion is golden. She came riding a lion and possessed 10 arms. 9 of her arms carried weapons, while the 10th hand raised to bless her devotees. She married Shiva in this form, and the day of their marriage is celebrated as Mahashivratri. Kushmanda. Maa Kushmanda is worshipped on the 4th day of Navratri. It is believed that Kushmanda is the ultimate source of life. When the universe was non-existent and darkness was everywhere, she created the universe with her smile. The universe then filled with light and she began to live in the core of the sun. The gods she created then went on to create other universes and living beings. Kushmanda possesses 8 arms and rides a lion that evokes fearlessness in her devotees. She bestows all pleasures and her worship brings prosperity, power and salvation. Skandamata. The 5th avatar, Skandamata, literally means the mother of Skanda. Skanda is another name of Lord Kartikeya, often known as Murugan in the south. She rides a lion and has 4 arms. 2 of her arms carry lotus. 1 is raised in blessing, while the 4th holds her son Kartikeya. When Shiva became detached from the worldly affairs upon the death of Sati, demon Tadakasur had wreaked havoc on the gods. The demon had a boon that only the son of Shiva could kill him. Fearing that Shiva may never have a child, the gods rushed to Vishnu for help. Vishnu assured that Parvati is destined to be the wife of Shiva. Upon the severe penance of Parvati, when Shiva agrees to marry her, they combine their energies to produce a fiery seed. Agni, the god of fire, was given the responsibility to carry the seed to Lake Saravana, but Agni could not bear the heat of the seed. Durga, taking the form of water, carries the seed to the lake in the Saravana forest. Later, the six-faced Kartikeya takes birth and grows up to be the commander-in-chief of the army of gods, killing Tadakasur in the battle. Katyayani. Being one of the most worshipped forms of Durga, Maa Katyayani is worshipped on the sixth day of Navratri. This is the form that is often referred to as Maa Durga. She took birth as the daughter of the sage Katyayan and hence came to be known as Katyayani. When the demon Mahishasur was creating trouble for the gods, the trinity Brahma, Vishnu and Shiva along with other gods combined their powers and weapons and summoned Katyayani. To know more about the various weapons of Durga and how she got them, watch the video linked above. Thus, the armed Katyayani proceeded towards Vindhya mountains where Mahishasura lived and killed him. She is also known as Mahishasura Mardini, the one who killed Mahishasura. Kalratri. Kal refers to death and Ratri means night. Hence, Maa Kalratri is the one who brings an end or death to anything that is associated with evil or darkness. She is more commonly referred to as Kali and is worshipped on the seventh day. Kalratri is the most terrorizing form of Durga. The most common form shows Kali as black, naked, with angry red sunken eyes, wearing skulls around her neck as jewelry and limbs around her waist. To know in full detail about Kali, watch the video linked in the comments below. Raktabij was a demon or asura who had been given a boon by Lord Brahma that every time a drop of his blood fell on the ground, a new version of his own would be created. Having received this boon, he made the life of people and gods miserable. Hence, the gods reached out to goddess Durga or Shakti for help. Armed with all the weapons, the goddess charged at the demon. But as soon as she wounded him with her sword and his blood fell on earth, the demon multiplied. With more attempts at killing Raktabij, the demon kept on multiplying. Huge armies of Raktabij were formed by the drops of blood which fell on earth. Enraged by this, the Devi took the infuriating form of Kali. She went on to slay each demon with the sword in her hand and collected their blood in her bowl and drank it immediately. Soon she finished the whole army of Raktabij and only the real Raktabij was left. Then she slayed him down and drank his blood till he fell down lifeless. It is said that just a century ago, Sri Ramakrishna Paramhans was blessed to see the real form of Kali. To watch the full story, click on the video linked above. Mahagauri. Worshipped on the 8th day, the story of Mahagauri has many versions. Maha means great and Gauri means white or fair. In the first version, upon killing Raktabij, Parvati was left with a skin as dark as night that lasted a long time. Parvati went through penance to attain her old form of feminine beauty and was advised by Brahma to take bath in the Mansarovar river in the Himalayas. When she did so, she shed her dark skin, and this skin took up a female form named Kaushiki that went on to kill the demons Shumbha and Nishumbha. Parvati regained her beauty, this time with a complexion so fair that led to everyone referring to her as Mahagauri. In the second version, as a result of Parvati's severe penance for over thousands of years that led to Shiva marrying her, her body was covered with dirt, mud, insects, and she was down to being a skeleton with no flesh. Pleased by her devotion, Shiva bathes her in the holiest Ganga that flew from the locks of his matted hair that nourished her body. She emerged as Mahagauri, as white as the jasmine flower. To know the story of how Ganga flew from Shiva's hair, watch the video linked above. Siddhidatri. Siddhidatri, worshipped on the last day, is the Adi Shakti avatar of Durga. She existed as pure energy and had no physical form. Lord Rudra, an avatar of Shiva, worshipped her for creating the universe, and she appeared from the left half of Shiva. That is why she and Shiva represent the duality of the universe in the form of masculine and feminine energies. They unite to form Ardhanarishwara. Devi Siddhidatri sits on a lotus and rides a lion.